Live from the station that's in your corner. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Hey, good morning, Southwest Florida, and thank you for watching Fox 4 Morning News this Saturday. I'm Rochelle Alleyne. This morning, we're tracking breaking news from overnight. As protests spread nationwide, we have the latest on the unrest after the death of George Floyd.
President Trump says he's spoken with family members of George Floyd. I'm Ray Bogan. Coming up, what the president also had to say about ending violent protests across the country.
But before we get to all of that, let's get a check of the weather with Lauren PETRELLI. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Rochelle. All right, so I know everyone is looking forward to the weekend, but we have another round of warm temperatures and also storms headed our way. Things right now off to a pretty warm start. 73 in Fort Myers, 74 in Bonita Springs. And right now our dew points are also climbing, and they're very close to our temperatures. And we know when that happens, we do have a bit of fog out there, especially in the Moorhaven and Clewiston area. Not too bad, down to 7 miles of visibility. But the wind direction and wind speed is helping to keep that fog in place. Right now we have a southeast easterly flow anywhere between about 5 miles per hour is the maximum we have registered. That's coming out of the Naples area, and that's really keeping that fog steady. Later on today, like I explained, it's going to be a hot one. Temperatures are close to 90 degrees. We also are going to have those afternoon storms and showers, something that we have seen over the past couple of days. The good news is if you're headed out the door right now, Doppler radar looking nice and clear. We have a few showers right off of the coast of Everglades City and Collier County, but they are moving away from Collier County. Now today, all eyes will be on Florida's Space Coast. This area, we have a few showers off to the east coast, not really impacting Cape Canaveral at the moment, but I know everyone wants to know what's going to happen with the launch. I'll have your launch forecast in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Friday night brought a fourth night of protests to Minneapolis, and the raw emotions continue to spread to cities across the country. That includes the nation's capital, where President Trump acknowledged the pain and said he actually spoke to Floyd's family. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has more.
Protests around the country are continuing in the wake of George Floyd's death, including in Atlanta and Houston, where he grew up. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee represents Houston. She reacted to the news the police officer who put his knee on Floyd's neck was arrested and charged with murder and manslaughter.
It was just too long and too slow. Certainly, we are grateful that what should have been done at least 24 hours ago is now occurring.
There are also protests in front of the White House, where President Trump asked the Department of Justice to expedite the federal investigation into Floyd's death. The president says he spoke with members of the Floyd family. He's calling for an end to violent protests.
The family of George is entitled to justice, and the people of Minnesota are entitled to live in safety. Law and order will prevail.
The president also explained one of his tweets that says in part, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." Twitter covered the tweet saying it glorifies violence, but they ruled it's in the public's interest to still be available for those who want to see it.
Well, I've heard that phrase for a long time. I don't know where it originated, but I will say it's very accurate in the sense that when you do have looting, like you had last night, people often get shot and they die.
The Senate Judiciary Committee announced it will hold a hearing as soon as possible on better policing and racial discrimination regarding the use of force. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
This morning, calls for justice for George Floyd continue across the country. We want to give you a look at the nationwide outcry that took place Friday and in some parts are still going on at this hour. Right now, you're looking at video from Brooklyn, Houston, and Atlanta. In Brooklyn, you can see police officers face off with protesters, which resulted in the officers spraying mace throughout the crowd. In Houston, you can see thousands of protesters marching in the streets in Floyd's hometown. We're now taking a closer look at this video of downtown Atlanta. Outrage there leading to the destruction of city buildings like the giant logo that sits right outside of the CNN Center. People even spray painted profanity and smashed the glass windows outside of that building. Protesters were met by law enforcement at the CNN headquarters, and some of them used tear gas and fire bangs as tactics. We're also looking at damage to the College Football Hall of Fame that's also in Atlanta. That was damaged last night during protests, again over the death of George Floyd. The front windows were smashed and some of the protesters were seen taking items from inside of the building. That's according to a reporter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Several people also threw garbage cans and other objects through the front of the building, which hosts football watch parties and other major events. The Fort Myers Police Chief, Derek Diggs, has released a statement about the Minnesota officers connected to Floyd's death and praising the progress he says that the city of Fort Myers has made when it comes to community policing. The statement reads in part, "As an agency, we are constantly evolving, learning, and growing alongside our community. We have been able to achieve a remarkable decrease in violent crime during the last 4-year period. I trust that justice will ultimately be served in Minneapolis against the officers involved in this tragic incident, as their actions or inactions are unacceptable and would not be tolerated in Fort Myers." You can read his full statement right now on fox4now.com. Also happening in Fort Myers, we're hearing from an 11-year-old victim who survived a traumatizing experience. Yesterday, Fort Myers police arrested 24-year-old Kevin Aganord, who is now charged with assault and burglary, among other things, after forcing his way inside of a Fort Myers home. They say once he got inside, he exposed himself to an 11-year-old girl. That girl spoke to Fox 4, describing the encounter and telling us she's still traumatized by this entire situation.
Last night I didn't sleep because my heart just keeps hurting. Like today I cried a lot too. My heart just keeps hurting like all the time. It's like it stops and I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Absolutely heartbreaking. That girl tells us when it happened, her life flashed before her eyes. She says she's just relieved this man is now in jail.
Welcome to Coronavirus The Rundown. I'm Usher Qureshi. The Labor Department says 2.1 million people filed new unemployment claims this past week. Alicia Nieves is asking about concerns there could be another, more widespread wave of layoffs.
Most thought as states started to reopen, millions of people would get back to work and unemployment would decline swiftly. But instead, it's still on the rise. The Department of Labor's latest report shows another 2.1 million people filed for unemployment last week, bringing the 10-week total to more than 40 million jobless claims.
And unfortunately, we haven't yet hit the bottom.
Julia Pollack is a labor economist at ZipRecruiter.
We could have 1 to 3 million more layoffs each week for the next few weeks as one industry after the other gets hit by this crisis.
While job losses in the restaurant and tourism industry have been significant in the last 2 months, industries like the media and advertising have suddenly started cutting jobs as well.
We're also seeing an increase in layoffs among local and state government workers.
A broader wave of unemployment is concerning because already 42 of the country's 50 states now have historically high unemployment rates, according to a new report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. States dependent on tourism and manufacturing like Nevada, Michigan, and Hawaii are leading the country with the highest unemployment rates.
The difference between a Michigan versus a Nevada and a Hawaii, while all have seen very high unemployment increases, Michigan will probably be able to rebound more quickly because manufacturing as an industry is able to rebound more quickly.
Analysts like Joe Gonzalez with Wallet Hub are seeing bright spots with manufacturing and construction, but overall say the data is showing the labor market will have a much slower recovery than first expected.
This is going to change how Americans and probably how global citizens work forever, right? We're seeing changes in terms of, do we need offices? Is that going to be more of a perk now? If you don't have an office, do you need to live 20 minutes away from the closest city? Can you prioritize other things like school systems or healthcare? You know, really looking at other bigger picture items for your family rather than just making a big portion of your life around work.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
The CDC is out with new guidance on how to stay safe in public places. With more people going out, the CDC says masks should still be worn. When it comes to ride shares like Lyft and Uber, the CDC says windows should be kept open to allow air to circulate. Riders should touch as few surfaces as possible, and they should avoid using shared rides. On public buses and trains, riders should try to keep an empty row between them and other passengers. There's also new guidance for people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19. They should stay under quarantine until they've reached 4 days without a fever and at least 10 days since they experienced their first symptoms. They should also be tested again before going out.
Well, NASA says it has about a 50-50 chance of liftoff today. That's after the nation's first astronaut launch in about 9 years was canceled this past Wednesday due to the weather. NASA officials say though they really want to get this crew into the air this afternoon, safety will always come first. Today's attempt comes after another round of thunderstorms are threatening a possible postponement. Officials say the wind, the timing, and geometry have to be just right for things to go smoothly today. If delayed again, the plan is to try again at 3 p.m. tomorrow or potentially next Tuesday or Wednesday.
A good scrub is better than a bad launch any day. And that's where we're at.
Today's redo is scheduled for 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time. This launch is what NASA is calling an instantaneous launch, meaning there's no time for delay on the launching pad. And I want to bring in Lauren PETRELLI. Lauren, you have a bit of a closer look as to how weather might be impacting today's liftoff, correct?
Yeah, so we just showed everyone a little bit of the radar and kind of showed you right now, even though things are dry, they have those storms off to the coast of the East Coast and Florida Space Coast. How many times can I say coast this morning? Now that southeasterly flow we're going to be dealing with by this afternoon could possibly push some of those rain chances up and push them more inland and closer to the area where the launch pad is. Now, storm chances do increase around 11 o'clock and continue through the afternoon. Right around lunchtime, we're going to be dealing with scattered storms and a few showers are also possible. And I know it sounds like maybe we could do it with a 50-50 chance, but there are 14 different weather conditions that could scrub a launch. The backup launch after today is Sunday at 3 p.m. We're keeping our eye on this one.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Thousands of Southwest Floridians have been left waiting for money meant to help them during this pandemic. Coming up right after the break, the work now being done in one county to divide the money while others continue to wait on the government. Thanks for sticking with us. Time now is 6:15 a.m. You're taking a live look at the tower cam here at Fox 4 Studios in Cape Coral, Florida. A beautiful and pretty quiet start to the morning so far. We're going to keep giving you guys some live looks at the roads coming up later on in our show. This weekend, workers in Lee County will be sifting through the thousands of applications it received this week for CARES Act money. But while they're able to help the people who live here, other counties aren't as lucky. Charlotte County still hasn't received anything from the federal government, even though the governor has $1.2 billion that haven't been allocated. Commissioners say they wrote a letter asking DeSantis to distribute that money to the 55 counties who haven't gotten anything yet. One commissioner says small businesses are running out of time. It's already been a week and they say they still haven't heard anything back.
So we hope the governor's taking a look at that seriously because, you know, at the end of the day, there will come a point where I think the county is going to be in real distress financially.
That commissioner says, though, despite the concerns, he is also confident that the governor will be able to work out some kind of deal with those counties. Nurses in Charlotte County are demanding better working conditions. About 20 of them protested in front of Fawcett Memorial Hospital in Port Charlotte yesterday morning. Some say they don't have enough masks or scrubs to protect themselves from COVID-19. Others are concerned about potential layoffs and pay cuts. A spokesperson for the hospital told Fox 4 that no one has been furloughed or laid off and that there aren't any plans to do so. But nurses told us they go to work every day unprotected and fearing that they'll lose their jobs.
It's scary. I have to say, every day that I come to work, I do cry a little bit on my way in.
As far as I am concerned, they don't care about nurses, they don't care about patients.
This is these nurses' third time protesting outside of Fawcett Memorial. The hospital also telling Fox 4 that they are offering pandemic pay to employees. But again, those nurses tell us that money is nearly impossible to get. A spokesperson for the hospital said employees have to qualify for those benefits, but they wouldn't tell us what those qualifications are.
Well, many big companies are ending hazard pay for essential employees as states start to reopen. Alexa Liaco spoke with employees and union representatives who are asking why.
These workers didn't sign up to die.
The checkout line now part of the front line of the coronavirus pandemic.
We see at least 300 people a day.
With all the extra people that are coming in and shopping, it's just added a lot of stress.
With increased risk to employees, many grocery stores and retail giants like Kroger, Amazon, and Target offered an hourly wage increase, calling it hero pay. For King Soopers butcher Kevin Smith, the extra $2 an hour meant peace of mind.
My wife has lost her job because of the COVID, so our expenses are higher now. I'm the sole earner in the house. That pay was really helping out. It meant a lot to me.
But just weeks after the hazard pay began, Kroger and Amazon ended the raise.
So the emotional stress that comes from getting paid less, it just affects everything in your life.
To have that $2 taken away, it feels like, oh, you were heroes yesterday, but you're not today.
Why does the company not think we're heroes anymore? The hazard is still out there, and it's still an issue.
An issue made worse because these employees say their families are also at risk.
I've been sleeping in a separate room for my wife because she was born with congenital heart disease. I don't think I'd ever get over it if something happened to her, if I brought it home to her.
Brookings Institution fellow Molly Kinder believes some companies are prioritizing profits. With more stores reopening and millions unemployed, there's less pressure to keep pay high.
There may not be as much of a financial need to raise pay in order to get workers to show up. So this wasn't just a thank you to workers. It wasn't just a recognition. It was a calculation from a lot of companies that they need to hire.
Not all incentives are gone. Target extended its hourly raise until July. Kroger and Walmart gave employees additional lump sum bonuses through the end of May. And Kroger says it could give more bonuses in the future, but has nothing planned. But UFCW Local 7 President Kim Cordova says this is not enough.
As long as there's not a vaccine, every day that these workers clock in, they're at risk.
We are heroes today. We will be heroes tomorrow. We are there on the front lines every day, and we deserve the bonus that we had been given at the beginning of the pandemic. It is not over.
I'm Alexa Liaco reporting.
Scientists want to use the same technology that was utilized for the Ebola vaccine to develop a coronavirus vaccine. Pharmaceutical company Merck and a nonprofit known as IAVI plan to begin clinical trials by the end of this year. Right now, the vaccine is in preclinical development. A Wisconsin doctor is testing experimental technology to help people with severe COVID cases. The CytoSorb is a blood filter that uses microbeads to absorb inflammation-causing molecules. In theory, it would stop irreversible organ failure as a result of coronavirus. Dr. Lucian Durham says he's used the technology to help 3 people.
Saw a difference within the first 12 hours. Blood pressures were stabilizing, organ function improved, and that correlated with the lab values that we were following that had been going up, and then they started going down.
CytoSorb isn't FDA approved yet, but right now doctors are able to use some experimental treatments on extremely sick patients.
All right, we know that all eyes are on the Space Coast this weekend, but Lauren, Cape Canaveral isn't the only place expecting some rain this weekend, right?
No, we are expecting rain chances as well. And I want to talk about temperatures right now because it's been warm, Rochelle, the past couple of days, and that daytime heating is what helps fuel those thunderstorms we see in the afternoon. Right now, temperatures are off to a warm start, 74 in Whiskey Creek, 73 in Cape Coral, North Fort Myers coming in at 73 as well. Headed down to Collier County, it's warm warm there as well. 75 in Orange Tree, 76 already in North Naples, the same in Naples, Golden Gate, 76 as well. And we're just going to climb temperature-wise from here. And when you take a look at the muggy meter, right now we are flirting with that tolerable and humid line as we move through Saturday morning and afternoon. And we know when our dew points are close to our temperatures, which right now they're off just by about 1 or 2 points, that's conducive for fog. Right now, some of our inland areas dealing with fog, and this has actually gotten worse in the past 15 minutes. It was 7 miles of visibility, Clewiston down to 1 mile, 2 in Moorhaven. We're starting to see some areas like Northport as well getting impacted by a little bit of that haze. Good news is if you're headed out the door right now, Doppler radar is looking nice and dry. We do have a few showers off of the coast in the Monroe County, Collier County area, but it's moving away from the coast. It's not going to be the story, though, by this afternoon. Our rain chances really peak later on this afternoon around noon. They get even more powerful around that 3 o'clock time, which is what we've been seeing consistently over the past few days. By this evening, things should die off just a little bit, and then our rain chances, though not as strong on Sunday, we do have another chance for afternoon showers and storms, and your Monday morning commute should start off dry. And that's what we're also seeing with our predictor model as well. Slightly cloudy as you walk out the door this morning, a stray shower or two for our inland areas, not completely out of the question. And take a look at that time, that key time around 3 o'clock. Our coastal communities could be dealing with widespread scattered showers and storms. Really ramps up right after sunset, I should say. Will die down later on this evening, dealing with a partly cloudy sky by this evening. Tomorrow, we're starting off the same way we do right now. And as we move through the afternoon, again, scattered storms and showers. Monday morning, starting off nice and dry for your morning commute. Not a bad day to get out and enjoy the beach if you can. You just have to dodge a shower or two. Watch out for a shift in the winds starting off this morning, coming out of the southeast, shifting from the southwest. And that's what really also helps fuel those storms. Taking a look at your weekend, going to be a warm one. Temperatures are going to be in the 90s, and consistently throughout the week, we are looking at warm temperatures and scattered storms and showers, especially in the afternoon.
Anybody that needs our services and that is willing to work our program and they're motivated to keep their family together, we are happy to come alongside them and help them.
A program designed to keep families united says they can barely keep up with demand during the COVID-19 crisis. Coming up, how you can help them. Time now is 6:24 a.m. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News. And good morning. Time now is 6:27 a.m. You're taking a look at the Naples Pier. Lauren said it might be a good day to head to the beach, and I think this shot is pretty convincing. It looks beautiful, serene, calm, and quiet out there. Thanks for sticking with us at Fox 4 Morning News. We want to bring you some more information on a program here in Southwest Florida. This morning, a nonprofit organization is working to help families in need around Southwest Florida. Better Together has a family program where parents can temporarily place their children with a background-checked volunteer family while they get help for their needs, whether it's homelessness, domestic violence, or a medical emergency. The goal is to keep those kids out of the foster care system. Better Together says a child is in their program for about 41 days compared to an average of 569 days in foster care.
We know that a lot of the kids that are in foster care are there due to neglect, and neglect is preventable. If the families have a little bit of support and someone to guide them, they can achieve their goals and accomplish their goals in such a short amount of time and be able to keep their family intact and keep their kids together.
Better Together also helps keep people employed. The organization believes that this is a key resource in keeping families together. Just last month, Fox 4 partnered with Better Together for Southwest Florida's first virtual job fair. 700 people registered for that event. Coming up, tensions rising between the U.S. and China at 6:30. What the president is now saying about China's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Time now is 6:28 a.m. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Live from the station that's in your corner. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. Time now is 6:31 a.m. Lauren told us earlier it's going to be a muggy start to the morning, which I'm not quite feeling for my morning walk. I'll say that, but it's dry, so I'll take that.
We were during commercial break talking about the positives, so Here's Doppler radar, and it's nice and dry for the moment.
I'll take what I can.
It's making us giggle in this studio. I think this is just what you need to get by at 6:30 in the morning with our early morning wake-up call. You can see Southwest Florida looking nice and dry. Like we said, we do have a few showers. This is right off of the coast, not too far from Marco Island and Everglades City. It is moving away from us, though. All eyes today are going to be on Florida's Space Coast, and it looks like the storms and showers this morning that were brewing right off of the coast looks like they're dissipating just a little bit. But as for the launch later on this afternoon, they are expecting scattered storms and showers. Also going to be a hot one, around 88 degrees, making it a 50-50 chance for the launch to actually happen. We're keeping our eye on that one. As for us this morning, temperatures are also warm. Bonita Springs coming in at 75 degrees. Visibility also a little low for some of our inland areas. Clewiston down to 1 mile of visibility. Today going to be another really hot one for us, close to 90 degrees. I'll time out the rain for you and also give you an update on the tropics coming up.
All right, thanks, Lauren. President Trump held a press conference yesterday to discuss rising tensions between the U.S. and China. During that press conference, he said he would cut ties with the World Health Organization because he feels the group was pressured by China to, quote, mislead the world about when they first discovered COVID-19. President Trump also announced a series of retaliatory measures against China during that speech.
We have detailed the reforms that it must make and engage with them directly, but they have refused to act. Because they have failed to make the requested and greatly needed reforms, we will be today terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization and redirecting those funds to other worldwide and deserving urgent global public health needs.
In that speech, President Trump also blasted China for passing a national security law that he says, quote, fundamentally undermines Hong Kong's autonomy. This morning, we're focusing on how Southwest Florida is bouncing back after COVID-19. And today we're looking at how a local Cape Coral business is doing. The owner of Cape Coral Yoga and Pilates says she opened up last year because she wanted to bring hot yoga and a boutique studio to the city. It took her 3 years to get to that opening day, including a 6-month setback from Hurricane Irma in 2017. The studio recently reopened with hand sanitizer stations. They have tape on the floors to make sure that yogis are properly distanced, and classes are now scheduled half an hour apart to allow each of the yoga rooms to be fully sanitized in between. If you'd like to support them by signing up for a class, you can go to capecoralyoga.com or you can call 239-541-8253.
As the unemployment rate sits at an all-time high, there are parts of the economy that are starting to rebound. So a big question for people out of work: how can you succeed in a current job market? Chris Conte reports.
It's been 3.5 months since Greg Morrison received a paycheck. 3.5 months sitting in his LA apartment searching for work. Money's tight.
Every time you write that rent check, there's just that little voice in the back of your head that knows it's coming out of your savings this time.
As a TV producer, this 33-year-old lost his job as soon as the virus hit. He's been getting unemployment, but even that isn't reliable.
They're 7 weeks behind right now on my unemployment payments.
Greg's tireless search for work, though, has finally paid off. With more states starting to slowly reopen, new TV shows are in the works. Greg was able to land a producing job starting in June.
Work's going to be a lot different this time. There's no office. I'm going to be working from home for the foreseeable future.
60% of the people making $40,000 a year or less lost their jobs. That's just huge.
As an economist, David Parsley says jobs are slowly starting to come back, but not as quickly as we thought.
I mean, it'll be 5 years before the full recovery.
But there are still some jobs available. In Greg Morrison's case, he kept checking in with contacts daily, which finally guided him to an opening.
There's always opportunities as it reopens, but mainly these opportunities are going to be for people who are skilled, people who are trained.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but you've just got to keep working your way towards that light.
Some Americans finally finding that light as the country slowly rebounds. I'm Chris Conti reporting.
Google is launching some new tools to help businesses get through this pandemic. Businesses can now add what are known as support links on their Google page. The links show people how they can support that small business. That can be anything from making a donation to the business to buying a gift card. Businesses can also show on their page what services are available during this time, and appointments can now be made directly through Google. A child ended up with chemical burns on her legs after a trip to the store. Now her mom wants other parents to be aware. Bobby Eden says the burns showed up on Finley shortly after a trip to a local Walmart last week. They saw a doctor who told them the marks look like chemical burns. Eden says she told Walmart she thinks the burns came from its disinfected carts.
He advised to me at that point, kids have sensitive skin. They do use an industrial type sanitizer that they spray on the carts. This was brought down from corporate due to the COVID-19. There's really not much that can be done, but she was sorry.
Little Finley is okay. Bobby says she hopes Walmart and other stores think about safer ways to disinfect carts. She says she's also now looking into cart covers and blankets. Well, a New York family is doing everything it can to protect their 107-year-old patriarch from coronavirus. The family told Allison Caden they can't let the virus take him. After all, he's survived.
Think positive, it's time to give up, yeah.
I think the coolest thing is that we're all the 4 generations are all bridged through like music.
4 generations sitting together. The eldest is Dr. Alex Glassman. He is 107 years old.
He's actually in pretty great shape considering he's 107. His biggest problem is his eyesight.
Born in 1913 in the Bronx, Glassman lived through the Spanish flu. He says he doesn't remember that pandemic. He was only 5, but he has conquered cancer, a heart attack, and is currently managing diabetes. And now his family is doing everything they can to prevent him from catching the coronavirus.
He's 107 and nobody wants anything to happen to him. He's survived so many things that, to be taken down by a virus would not be acceptable.
So all 4 generations are home in Armonk, New York. Everything is delivered or dropped off. Glassman lives across the driveway from his granddaughter's family, the Schlossers. He has full-time caregivers who don't leave. His daughter and her husband live right next door.
Are you able to hug him? No, we don't hug him. That's been the hardest part.
I always love to give him a hug and a kiss or just rub his arm or hold his hand. And it's very hard.
Sometimes the family needs to remind Glassman, a retired doctor, why they can't be close to him and why they are wearing masks. But his family says most of the time he understands.
But he just remembers how much we love him because we always are telling him.
Love that this family hopes will be expressed in touch, a hug and a kiss, and that Glassman will celebrate his 108th birthday next May without masks and fear of the virus.
All right, this morning, the Nations Association is doing what they can to feed Southwest Florida. They're hosting a drive-through food giveaway today at Iglesia Rosa de Saron. That's on Palm Beach Boulevard. You'll be able to get things like canned goods, beans, rice, and more. You don't have to qualify, though, to get the groceries. Just drive in, and the volunteers will bring the items to your car. The giveaway starts at 9 a.m. and will run until everything is gone. And if you're looking for something fun to do today, you can catch a movie at a drive-in theater in Collier County. The movie night is happening tonight at the Collier Fairgrounds in Naples. Jurassic Park will be showing at 8:15 p.m. And if you can't make it today, they'll be playing the same movie tomorrow night at the same time. The cost to attend is $27.50 per vehicle. Space is limited, though, so you can pre-purchase your parking pass on the website that's on your screen right now. And we're tracking the tropics this morning as the 2020 hurricane season starts in just a couple of days. And preps for this year's season also includes the added hurdle of dealing with coronavirus. Because of this, the Lee County Emergency Management Team wants you to rely on hurricane shelters only as a last resort. Public Safety Director Lee Mayfield says if you don't live in a vulnerable area, you should probably stay in place. Shelter space needs to be saved for those living in the most dangerous areas.
Some of the big changes we may look at would be maybe opening up more shelters than we normally would to allow for spacing and for social distancing in the shelter to the extent possible. Face masks, you know, everybody's kind of getting used to doing that when you go out in public, so bringing your own face mask should you have nowhere else to go. Additional cleaning, making sure we do cleaning more frequently in that sheltering environment. In the high-touch surfaces, and maybe even some screening questions as you enter the public shelter.
And for more tips on staying safe during hurricane season, you can head to our website, fox4now.com. And Lauren, I know hurricane season is probably, you know, there are two words people don't want to hear right now after a COVID-19 pandemic, but it's important to keep people informed.
Especially as we've headed through the past couple of weeks. So hurricane season doesn't officially start, Rochelle, until Tuesday, but we've already had 2 named storms, and we also have another area that we're keeping our eye on. So this is a strong chance of development. So over the next 2 days, a 60% chance of development, same chances as we kind of cross the 5-day hurdle mark. Now, this area right here has a very strong chance of developing into a subtropical depression sometime today or even early tomorrow morning. Now, beyond that, they don't think it's going to strengthen or form into anything else. We are keeping our eye on it, but we've already had 2 named storms, Arthur and Bertha. The next name on the list is Cristobal. So again, just keeping our eye on this stuff.
All right, thanks, Lauren. In a matter of weeks, some of the most famous pieces of art will soon be available to see in person again. Coming up, we'll tell you about plans to reopen museums both overseas and right here in Southwest Florida. Time now is 6:42 a.m. You're watching Fox 4 Morning News. Welcome back. This morning, arts and culture venues are slowly opening back up with social distancing measures, of course, and one of them is the Davis Arts Center in Fort Myers. They announced yesterday that they'll be taking customers starting next weekend with their annual Rumors or Reality Jury exhibition. Also promised are dueling pianos and the return of yoga classes. Their opening reception takes place next Friday, June 5th at 6 p.m. And across the world, you'll soon be able to visit the Mona Lisa in person again, but only if you make an appointment. The Louvre Museum in Paris is planning to reopen on July 6th. Museum officials say they will follow all of France's health rules. This comes as the French government is starting to ease lockdown measures across the country. All museums and monuments in the country are allowed to open starting Tuesday.
Welcome back. Some cities are closing roads to cars so people can have more space to walk, bike, or just be outside right now. Bo Evans looks at whether the changes could become permanent.
We advocate for every neighborhood in Seattle to be a great place to walk, bike, and live.
Reclaiming the streets has a different meaning to Clara Cantor. She's a member of Seattle Neighborhood Greenways. One of its main goals is to make Seattle, Washington a more walkable or bikeable city.
We needed some additional space for people to be outside, both for physical health, mental health, and just to get around for folks who are still going to essential services.
The coronavirus pandemic has given Seattle and other cities across the U.S. a unique opportunity to change busy city streets into something more like a neighborhood playground.
We're seeing a really beautiful thing happening where families are coming out biking together. I've been out and you see people walking dogs and elders out walking, kids playing in the middle of the street with sidewalk chalk.
During the pandemic, Seattle repurposed 20 miles of what it calls Stay Healthy Streets. Local traffic can continue to drive through slowly, but all other traffic is not allowed.
So you see a lot of people walking, biking in the street, which is perfectly fine. We encourage people to keep it moving. So this isn't a place to just set up your barbecue in the middle of the street. But if you're doing something active, you're using it to exercise or get around, that's fine.
The idea is to give people a place to walk, run, bike, be outside, but have enough space to spread out. But now, these will be permanent fixtures in Seattle.
We realize this is a really good opportunity to make this permanent because these Stay Healthy Streets are a really great amenity going forward to achieve a lot of our other goals too. Because as the economy starts to start up again, people are going to need to have good ways to get around without a car.
Other cities like New York, Denver, Cincinnati, and more have closed streets to traffic for walking or sometimes to give dense commercial areas a chance to spread out. Sometimes for social distance lines out the door, or in some places to give restaurants outdoor seating. The practice is having mixed reviews in Cincinnati, where closing off streets has impacted residents' parking.
We pay to park, and then we still got to find somewhere else to park because they want to party or whatever they want to do out here.
I know that there are many parkers in around the city with the residential parking program that are concerned.
But in Seattle, it remains a positive addition for most, and they're happy it's not just a pandemic perk.
It's a really wonderful way for us to be in community with each other, even from a distance, in a way that's kind of hard to find right now.
I'm Bo Evans reporting.
Time right now is 6:50 and we want to get you another check of your weather. Headed out the door right now, things are nice and dry in southwest Florida. We do have a few showers. This is right off of the coast, not too far from Marco Island and also Everglades City, but it is moving away from us. Now, that won't be the story by this afternoon. We'll get to that in just a second. If you're headed out the door, not only is it dry, it's also a little muggy. Right now, temperatures are pretty warm, 73 in Fort Myers, 75 in Cape Coral, already 76 in Naples, so it is going to be another warm one. And right now, our dew points are not too far off from where our temperatures are. We're flirting with that humid, tolerable line as we move through not just today, but through the rest of the weekend. And we know in our dew points, being in the low 70s with our temperatures not far off from that, that's very conducive for some fog. Our inland areas like Moorhaven and Clewiston dealing with 1 mile of visibility, so this has gotten worse within the past 45 minutes or so. Also, Palmdale, that has also gotten worse. You're down to 6 miles of visibility. So if you're headed out in the car, make sure you are being very cautious because of those foggy conditions. Now, I said we are going to have rain later on today. Now, as we move through the morning hours, the earlier you get out, the better. We're going to see some increase in cloud coverage around lunchtime. And then again, that 3, 4 o'clock afternoon time, that's when we're going to see that southeasterly flow combining with daytime heating along with the sea breeze, going to give scattered showers and storms for our coastal communities. Now, after sunset later on this evening, we're going to have a chance for widespread but also scattered showers and storms, mostly impacting our inland areas. And then again, it's the same for tomorrow. Our storm chances for the afternoon for coastal communities by the evening really going to impact our inland areas. The good news is your Monday morning commute will start off nice and dry. Not a bad day to get out on the boat as long as you get out nice and early. You could see right here that wind going to shift from the southeast to the southwest, so do watch out for that. Also, the tropics are very busy. We have an update on this tropical disturbance that has a chance of developing to a subtropical depression by later on today. Moving through the weekend, going to be a warm one. Temperatures are going to be in the low 90s, sun and clouds, but don't forget those afternoon storms, and that really continues through the rest of the week.
Welcome back. The Masked Singer Season 3 has wrapped up and Season 4 will soon be on the way. But in the meantime, the stars who made it to the finals have a lot in store, from new music to movies. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with more.
The Masked Singer Season 3 winner, Kandi Burruss, won the Golden Mask Trophy, then released her brand new single, Used to Love Me.
It's more of a dance record, really. It's more of a record that makes you feel good. You want to go to the club. And I wanted to do a song that was just worldwide.
She plans a full album and says performing many genres on the show helped inspire her musically.
I've never been able to just do all type of music because, I just kind of was like in the R&B lane, and I really couldn't just do something opposite of that because, you kind of feel like, well, this is what I'm stuck to. But now I don't feel that way.
Runner-up Jesse McCartney has an upbeat single called Friends, ahead of a full introspective album.
Talks about my life in the industry and is a little bit more singer-songwriter based. Talks about my romance with Katie, my new fiance, who I've been with for 8 years.
Runner-up Bow Wow has been working on music at home.
Hopefully we'll be able to put out a nice project
that can kind of, you know, hold everybody's hunger for now until the tour gets back up.
He also has big screen plans.
Now Fast 9 comes out, I believe April 2021. I started another movie in the fall time. Hopefully we'll be able to work and be around each other, around people, so I can film the movie. But yeah, that will be the sequel to Johnson Family's Vacation.
Just the start of what's next for these Season 3 finalists. Season 4 of The Masked Singer this fall. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And you can keep up with us between now and when we're back tonight at 10 p.m. Just search WFTX on your streaming device to download and watch Always On News 24/7. All right, Lauren, I have a quick question. You said that this morning is going to be dry but muggy. So the question is, are you joining me for my 7 a.m. walk right after the show?
Sure, right after my nap, Rochelle. That's exactly what I'll do. Maybe I'll go this afternoon.
You heard it here first. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Bye, everyone.